you become habituated to are changing. The prices are going through the roof, and the gasoline prices are going up and down, mainly 2 steps up and 1 step back all the time. It's meant to be that way. It's just an agenda we're living through. Our lives basically are scripted for us, at least the big changes in our lives, long before we're born, in fact, because these boys that run the world have long-range timetables, and they run it like a business plan with their big projected investments in the future, which always entail the takeovers of other nations and wealth and all resources of the world. One of the many interlaced organizations that spearheaded this unification of the Americas is the Council on Foreign Relations, as it's called in the United States. In Canada, its sister branch is the Canadian Institute for International Affairs. It's the same club. All British Commonwealth countries have the Royal Institute for International Affairs. And they work in tandem to bring all this about. In Canada, when the three amigos signed their first open part of the amalgamation for public consumption in 2005 in March at Waco, Texas, it was announced on Canadian television that there'd be a few more after this one. The second part is to be signed this year in Canada. But they mentioned that the Council on Foreign Relations that appeared publicly for the first time under their own banner on the mainstream news said that they drafted the whole thing up themselves. This non-governmental organization had drafted up the amalgamation of the Americas to be signed. Well, who gave them the authority to do so? Who voted them into any office over us? Well, the fact is, no one did. We don't have anything called democracy. It's a joke. It's a sham for the public. It's to put the public to sleep thinking they have rights. The feudal system of the Middle Ages is alive and well. They gave democracy for a while just to put everyone asleep and stop them rebelling every 4 or 5 years. That's why you have elections every 4 or 5 years. In the 1600s, the surveys they did in Britain showed that if they didn't give the people rights, there would be a revolution roughly every 4 or 5 years. So, lo and behold, they came up with this new idea called democracy. But at least in Britain and the older countries of Europe, they have an elite which they understand are there at all times, and they're called the establishment. No one votes the establishment in. The establishment are above all laws and rules. They own parts of the world, big parts, big chunks of the world, including the countries they're based in. You can't argue with these boys. Money is the key to it all. Everything in this corrupt system runs on money. I personally don't care what kind of money it is or what form it takes. Money is the key to help elite families get to the top and hold power over everyone else. I don't see any way around it, to be honest with you, in a system that wants to keep money. Even though they've said at the top, through their big front writers like Bertrand Russell, eventually the public will be issued credits by the state. Every week, every Monday, and you can't save up these credits. If you don't spend them, you start off with the same figure every Monday. If you go against the system, then those credits will be withheld and you can't buy food or shelter or clothing. That will be a form of social control and punishment. This, again, has been discussed at very high-level meetings over many years by the elite themselves. And we will see that introduced once the ID cards come out, because the ID card that's to come out in the United States is made by the same firm that's already done it for Britain. And they announced in Britain last year that the ID card has an active chip, which also will be your banking card. This is the age, you see, that was planned a long time ago, where you won't be able to buy or sell without the number and being tracked and all the rest of it off the beast. The beast is the system itself. We're at that stage almost already without the single ID card. just over the last 10 years, I've been astounded at the amount of people you see who have a card for every shop they visit. Everything they buy is being monitored by government agencies. And if you ask them if they know this, they'll say, yeah, vaguely. And you ask, does it concern you? And they'll say, no. I have nothing to hide. So you see, there's no indignancy left in them. They have no indignancy anymore. They're happy slaves. They're being good. Being good means whatever the present laws are or what they'll become, they will obey automatically. That's what's called being good. So they think they're going to be safe if they just keep their heads down and play at being good. And that won't happen because, you see, if they don't have indignancy, their brains already have been attacked. It's a natural survival mechanism to want privacy. People had wars in the past to preserve privacy because many times in the past it got to the stage then where big government wanted to monitor every person and they wanted to monitor everything you did and bought and sold and where you went and who you visited. That's called a police state, a totalitarian state. We're seeing the exact duplication of the Sovietized system being established across the world as the elite from the West said it would be. And they said at their big meetings at the Club of Rome, and there are other big clubs that they have in this amalgamation, that they preferred the collectivist system. It was much easier to control the vast amounts of population. Back in a few minutes after this.